We begin in famine-stricken South Sudan, where the United Nations has urged all parties to ensure that the humanitarian workers have immediate, safe and unhindered access across the country. Thousands of people are in need of assistance, but looting and the killing of aid workers are contributing to the rising insecurity that is hampering relief work. The United Nations needs $4.4 billion by the end of this month to prevent thousands of people from dying in South Sudan, Nigeria, Somalia and Yemen. CGTN's Nick Harper joins me now from New York with more on this. Nick, the UN Secretary General recently launched an appeal for billions of dollars to fight famine. How is the response so far?
Well, so far, in many ways, I guess the best way to sum it up would say there has been a tepid response. The United Nations, it always struggles really to fulfill all of its funding commitments, and that's certainly no different when it has an appeal, even an emergency appeal of this nature, where they are saying that people have already started to die and they need money as soon as possible. Pledges have started to trickle in so far from the list. We know that the UK and the EU have pledged about 200 million US dollars, the Swiss government about $15 million, and there have been other pledges along the way, but it's still nowhere near this appeal total that they need. About $1.6 billion are required urgently to help millions of people within the country during the course of this year. And the other big problem, as you hinted to just a moment ago, that they are facing at the moment, not just funding, but also access. United Nations humanitarian workers in the country are being prevented to access certain famine-stricken regions of the country. Some of the humanitarian workers have even had to move out of one of the counties in Unity State due to insecurity over the last 24 hours or so. So here we have the humanitarian coordinator for South Sudan, Eugene Owusu, saying that the people of South Sudan are suffering beyond measure, and he's asking all warring parties within the country to give humanitarian workers immediate, safe and unhindered access. Quite simply, he's saying that this has to happen swiftly and robustly, because he is warning that people are already dying and many more will suffer the same fate if access and funding doesn't happen quickly.
So, Nick, if the funds are not available on time, what other alternative does the UN have to help alleviate the suffering of the people faced with famine?
Well, the United Nations, with any of the countries that it works with, will have an overall total pot of money, a total that they hope to have to work with to help the people in that country during the course of each year. They have this budget and they can work out how they allot it. The big problem for South Sudan and these other countries facing famine is that the United Nations are now saying that that money is not enough. The situation in those countries is now so dire that they need extra funds, hence this emergency appeal. Now, the UN does have some contingency funds, money that it can draw on in these type of situations, but simply it is relying on the international community to be able to give these very large donations to help in these very extreme situations. At the moment, the UN is saying that 100,000 people are currently facing starvation. On top of that, there's 1 million on the brink of famine as well, and about 5.5 million more people are facing insecurity in South Sudan during the course of this year. So there are funds that it has, that it's already using, other funds that it can draw on, but essentially it does need access to a very large pot of money from this emergency appeal. It says that it needs to get this money in to stop the people in South Sudan from dying from famine.
Nick Harper in New York for us. Many thanks, Nick.